And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bubba and the Bloom, episode 321. It's Pockets of ADP season. We're kicking it off with ADP 50 through 100. We'll get 5 episodes, some of our best, or at least our most fun episodes to do through draft season to get you kind of a recap and get you ready for the heart of draft season for yourself. Get to some recent news, some listener league discussion, and much more. But before we get to that, you can follow me on Twitter at BDentric, the podcast at Bubba Bloom Pod, on Patreon at patreon.com/Bubba Bloom, and my co-host, as always, on Twitter at RyanBHQ. Ryan Bloomfield, Taco Tuesdays. How we doing, man?
Yeah, Taco Tuesday. So we're correctly fueled. We're adequately fueled for this show this evening. It's Listener League week, man. Listener League week 1 of 2, off to a great start. We've got 3 leagues done already. 2 of them were streamed. Shout out to Joe Arico yesterday, who streamed it on Fangraphs, which was kind of cool. Giving us a shout to little old Bubba and the Bloom on Fangraphs. That was nice. Joe did an awesome job. You and Ben were on with him for most of the time, and then tonight was Kevin Hastings and Britton Allen streaming as part of the Palazzo podcast. You, sir, are up next on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Best Coast?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Best Coast, Listener League Quattro. I'll be streaming with Ben Titt will be joining me, maybe a few others. Don't want to say for sure because nothing is locked in, but some other people have been reached out to. So we'll see when, if, who shows up for all these things. But yeah,
I'm gonna try and make it. I've got kid duty tomorrow night, so we'll see. Maybe a phone cameo, maybe help you out in the end game once the kids are down and out. Hopefully.
Yep. No, anybody is appreciated, as we found out last night. You know, we had the 3 of us on with the Rico to actually let him kind of tilt by himself and not have to worry about talking, which was very entertaining.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, all good. And we'll see how it goes. I got to get my prep in. I got 2 other podcasts to do tomorrow, and beforehand,
Why not?
plus parent teacher conference, like literally
throw that
minutes before the stream. I'm gonna be pulling in hot. Let's put it that way.
Sorry, teacher, got an auction, got a bail.
Yeah, she's in a DLI program, dual immersion. I'll say lo siento. Hasta luego. Gotta go. Sorry, for those at home, I'm sorry. See you later.
Yeah, man. You'll make it on time. We have faith in you. So you'll be Wednesday, and then we won't have a Thursday. We'll have a Thursday show, of course, but we won't have a Thursday Listener League auction. And then Friday Night Lights will be my auction, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And sounds like you're hanging on the whole time with me. So
unless something comes up, I plan on being there the entire show. Only thing I can see is maybe a few minutes later if I take my daughter to dinner. Otherwise, I will be there the entire time, ready to roll. Nothing on my schedule except you, me, and my microphone.
Wow, that's the perfect Friday night, right?
Yeah, sounds like it. You know, it's the best of the best.
Yeah, maybe I'll cut the cord on my headphones here halfway through the damn thing and see how we do.
For your benefit, not a bad call. No, yeah. I'll try to be nice. Just I'd be more worried about you getting mad and throwing your hands up and your camera moving around and stuff. That'll tilt you. You'll miss the next 2 bids trying to figure that out.
It'll be tough. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but a couple comments in the chat here. Woody says, I don't know what was funnier, seeing Joe's reaction getting sniped or watching Bubba enjoy it.
I'm telling you, man, these Arico, some facial expressions. Wore his heart on his sleeve. A couple of those down to the last second +1. He did not take it well. It was pretty beautiful to see. So yeah, Woody, you were in that league. So well done. Good auction.
And JD was in the league. He goes, hey guys, don't tell Joe, but I was the one that sniped him on CAGs. Glad Bubba enjoyed it. Oh yeah, he was. Well, because I don't know if JD is Straska. I don't know who that is, but I don't think so. Because Straska had a different name in the chat last night. Straska got Joe like 5 times. It felt like it was always the last second, and then he had the glitch one. Oh yeah, dude, it was so good.
Yeah, where it paused and then he thought he got him, and then it was a +1. I forget who that was for, but
oh man, he had his enemy. So then JD was a separate one that got Joe. Joe got, yeah, he got it a lot, but his team still turned out pretty good, especially for going heavy early on a couple options. He went to pocket aces. with Skeens and Sanchez, and then still
There,
spent up for a couple bats. It worked out well.
there was an Otani Judge combo last night, so you can do whatever you want in these auctions. Maybe you pay the price later at other positions, but you can do that. And we're just making fun of Joe. I mean, really, Bubba's the ultimate. Bubba owns the infamous table slam being outbid for Miguel Amaya last year. So let's see what kind of fireworks you and I get pissed too. I try not to show it, but
I have a bad filter. I don't. Yeah.
You try to bring it out in me anyway. So
yeah, that's what I'm here. I'm here to poke the bear. I'm already the bear, so there's no poking necessary is the problem. But looking forward to it. So if you guys are bored or just want to be entertained, whatever, on Wednesday evening, come join us on the Bubba and the Bloom YouTube and check it out.
Yeah, we'll put them both on our YouTube channel, and we'll have.
It'll be a bench with Bubba episode for me. It'll be just like a stream for Ryan's, but we'll have some fun with it and get you guys going. And as Ryan said, every other one will be streamed. We'll pass on those links for you as well from Sheep and TDK and whoever else is streaming along the way. So there will be many to make them happen for you.
Yep. Lucas Beery, Spencer Thurmond, Aaron Asbury. I think we've got everyone there. So it's going to be a fun crew the rest of the way.
Yep. Looking forward to it. I've actually been able to watch most. I didn't watch much tonight, but watch most. All right. Last time we will promote this one, and I know it pains Ryan not to say this promo code anymore after this evening, but Baseball HQ, we love the product. We work for them, obviously, and they help us with our Listener League prizes. So we help them where we can as well. And that means getting you guys to try to sign up. If you don't have an HQ subscription, go check out the draft subscription is what I call it. It's just, you get all of draft season plus the month of April, and for one low price, but you can get $10 off. Ryan, how?
By typing in BUBBA26, Bubba 26. I'm not going to miss saying this promo code, but draft prep subscription, not draft prescription.
You know how I am describing things. Like I'm like Ron Burgundy. If it's not on my prompter or it's on my sheet, it's not happening.
After you tried to lay out the best ball prize structure of the infamous best ball prize structure of 2025,
type it in, let us know.
I don't forget these things. I certainly hear you there. But if anyone wants to check out Baseball HQ, again, we won't go through the whole spiel. We talk about them and write for them, and I use their projections and tools all the time. But if you're interested in full site access through April, Bubba 26 will get you $10 off as a subscription there, so you can kind of get your feet wet and check it out. I think we both have columns coming out on Wednesday.
Yep.
On the site, I've got a Facts and Flukes column coming out Thursday, so it is rocking and rolling over there as well.
Yeah, my AOS PT tomorrow will drop on Wednesday. That's my new date. It was Mondays last year. It'll be Wednesdays this year. It's more my wishes and Brent granted them. Thank goodness. Gives me some more time to get it out to everybody. But we're doing a theme week for PT tomorrow. We're doing a couple throughout the season. This one is like basically a rough way of saying it. Entering camp, what is one storyline, a position battle for each team, essentially. So I picked one for each team in the West. The AL East came out on Tuesday. I believe it was I'm going to missay it. It was like I want to say it was the NL East on Monday. I could be totally wrong.
Alan was out on Monday.
That's what I thought so. So, and obviously Alan has to start it out with a quote about the Constitution because that's Alan. That's what he does.
At least half the time it's Shakespeare or some foreign play that I've never heard of, but
like he's so good, like so good. And congrats to Alan for becoming a new Tout Wars member of the NL Only League. So, go check it out. It's just an interesting theme because it summarizes what we do at PT tomorrow, but also kind of keeps it at spring training and everyone's reporting what to watch for a longer period of time type deal. So check that out. We're going to do a WBC one in a few weeks as well. All right, some news and notes before we get into the pockets of ADP. Pablo Lopez. Pablo Lopez. This is one of those that early, like October, I was like, oh, sweet. I'm going to be in on Pablo. The shoulder things, whatever. He came back. There's the forearm issue, but he's supposed to be fine. All this stuff. And the more we talked about it, and I heard others talk about it and talked about it with other people, I'm like, maybe I should back off a bit. And I did. I stopped drafting him, essentially. Now, after getting an MRI on a sore shoulder / elbow, he has significant damage to his elbow, going to get a second opinion. And when they said significant out the gate, Ryan, I was like, oh, not good.
Yep. This is an RIP type situation. Not good. I mean, I love Pablo Lopez. I will always remember Pablo. I mean, obviously fantasy wise, but I remember he went on a podcast with. I feel like this is like an obituary. This is not
Long time
this is
ago.
not good. He's just hurt. He's still alive. Did an hour-long podcast with Nick Pollack, just talking through one of his starts, and it was like the coolest hour conversation that Pablo Lopez had with Nick Pollack. So it sucks for Pablo. I'm not gonna victory lap this one, but this is one where I think folks. I've been consistent in this. Pitchers that end the season and don't come back with elbow, shoulder strains, that type of thing. For me, and until I see them in spring training and they actually pitch through a couple of games in spring training, I'm just not going to go there and draft and hold. And Pablo, unfortunately, was one of those guys for me. What do you think this does for the Twins rotation? Like there was talk of Taj Bradley in the bullpen, Zebby Matthews in the bullpen. Those guys probably both in the rotation pending spring training outcomes.
Yeah, I feel like it. To me, it feels like it locks in Zebby Matthews. I know they have Taj Bradley as the SP4, Matthews SP5, and unroster resources will probably be a great one for whoever's writing the AL Central on PT tomorrow to discuss.
Sure.
But this is a great one to discuss the premise of what we do. But it should put them both in the rotation, to your point. But I will just highlight. I don't know if it's a given on what we've seen in the past, because you still have, let's never forget David Festa. He is still sitting out there. Mick Abel has a history.
David, don't call me Matt Festa, and Mick, willing and able.
Yes.
Waiting in the minor.
Proud of you. So those two options there. On paper, it should be Taj and Zebby, yes. Or they could go sign Patrick Corbin or someone like that to come in and get things done. I'm telling you, the longer Lucas Giolito, the longer. This is what some of these guys, the longer they wait, there's going to be so many injuries that take place in the first 3 weeks of spring that you're going to get a job.
First freaking news item, you bring up Patrick Corbin. This is unbelievable. Yep. This is so Patrick Corbin. Bubba and I both posted our. So we're both done with draft and holds. So we posted our player shares, and probably even worse is my number one was Shota at 80%, which is not good. It's because
you almost have to start him.
Yeah. But Bubba's number one is Patrick Corbin. It's what are we doing here? And then now he's bringing him.
It's like rounds 45 through 50. It's pure speculation.
I know, but it was pretty funny.
And I want to mention something, because I said I stopped drafting Pablo. The more we talked, I pulled up my player shares. I have him in one league. So literally, it was my first draft, I think, that I backed off. So. Proud of myself there. But yes, it's a shame. Hate to see it. Definitely worth monitoring how the Twins go about things, though. It should be Taj. It should be Zebby. But, man, there's no safety nets in that rotation. Zach Gallen returns to the Arizona Diamondbacks on a one-year deal, $22 million, matching the qualifying offer that he passed on when he went to go shop the free agent market. I don't have a whole lot here. I think it's interesting. I noticed it last night watching the Listener League auction. I went and looked at the AAV. It's only $5, which seems so cheap for Zach Gallen. But I know he wasn't great last year, but anyway, it still just feels cheap. ADP is 230 over the last 7 days in OCs. It's a very cheap price for a guy if he can figure a little bit out.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of a long did this long with the qualifying offer and got right back to where they started. Doesn't really change much for me for Zach Gallen. I don't know, kind of maybe wanted him to just get a fresh scenery, different organization to work with him, see what he does. But agree. I think the price is fine. I think the ceiling is not what we thought it was with Zach Gallen. Certainly 2022 and 2023, I don't think is walking through that door again. But right, if you're spending $4 or $5 in these auctions like they are in the Listener League, Zach Gallen is, I think, perfectly fine as a mid-rotation piece. I just don't expect more than that.
Agreed. The original mascot, the OG mascot, Luis Rengifo, signed with the Milwaukee Brewers as they need a third baseman since they traded all three of their third base options to Boston. Rengifo is going to be playing third base unless something really crazy happens in Milwaukee, but that's what they signed him for. I'm still going to be a Rengifo fan, especially if you look at ADP of 340, 341 over the last 7 OCs. He's only been taken in the last 12. He wasn't even getting drafted before that, and honestly, why should he have? But that makes sense. And then his AAV is $2, Ryan. He's not even drafted in every league, in the auction period. So this is one of those that I'm in on these prices. That's for sure.
Yeah, and even that, I mean, this is using the ADP and AAV tracker that we have for the Patreon. I mean, these are recent drafts, recent auctions post signing, right? So that's the price is really good. The playing time's there. I think this is a great landing spot. This Luis Rengifo is the type of player you want to land on a bad team and not be a utility player. So you certainly like that. The question's always going to be is what's the running game? Well, I think the biggest question is can Luis Rengifo stay healthy?
Yes.
If he clears that hurdle literally without straining his hamstring, is he going to run? And so like last year, the Brewers were semi-aggressive. They had a 13% stolen base attempt rate, which is actually tied with like 3 other teams for the second most in the majors. So probably a good thing on a team that seems to let some of their faster guys run. So all in all, a good landing spot. Second base, third base eligibility is pretty nice. And again, price is everything. $1 or $2 is well worth it in an auction, in my opinion.
So glad I finally got to see him in person before he moved away from the West Coast.
That's right. Now I need to go to Milwaukee for my trip.
Yep. I was so close to him. So close to him. Now I'll never be close again. I want to get you. I'm really curious your thoughts on this one because I've had to break it down for like 3 different articles I've written recently. Jesus Sanchez traded to the Toronto Blue Jays after the Santander news. It made sense they needed another power back because otherwise it's Nathan Lucas and David Schneider platooning. Now it's likely Sanchez and Schneider. Joey Loperfido back in Houston, who was originally traded to Toronto in the Yusei Kikuchi deal a few years back. So we'll start with Jesus Sanchez. What are your thoughts on Jesus leaving Houston and joining the Toronto Blue Jays?
Probably a good thing, just because the initial foray with Houston was not very good for Jesus Sanchez, and maybe that's just adjusting to a new team or whatever, but it was pretty bad for him down the stretch. I feel like I'm between Brandon Marsh and Jesus Sanchez, and like every draft and hold is my outfield 5 or 6 or whatever as we start to get to Platoonsville. And I still think Jesus Sanchez, batting average risk, not batting average sink. He had 237 last year, but 252, 249 the 2 prior years. I think a really good power speed combo. And if you can time him on weeks where the Blue Jays play a bunch of right-handed pitching, great lineup. I think that's going to work quite well actually for Jesus Sanchez. Like I think he has the job against right-handed pitching, and he's not going to play against lefties pretty much no matter which team he plays for. So that doesn't change for me.
Agreed. And I think it's a good move just because like he had the gig in Houston, but it was really weird. There was so many moving parts in Houston that I didn't feel completely comfortable with it. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Whereas in Toronto, if you look at their depth chart, like, yeah, he's the guy that's going to platoon with David Schneider. So I like that a lot more in Toronto. Plus, both lineups are good, but I just think Toronto's built to thump, where Houston has to, they can thump, but they also have to produce. Like they actually have to hit too. Toronto just wants you to go out there and thump. And that builds well into the Jesus Sanchez mode. Now, Loperfido, I want to get your thoughts on that one because
it's your guy.
I have my thoughts. But I want to hear yours first.
No, give me your thoughts. That's if you're convicted, if you have conviction.
If I have conviction, yeah, I'm not convicted of anything yet that I'm aware of. But
yeah, that came out wrong. But things typically do on this show.
Innocent until proven guilty on this show. Remember.
If you have conviction on Joey Loperfido, I'd love to hear it.
I'm just biased, I guess. Not biased. I don't know why I have bias, but I think this is a very good ball player still. He's 27, so he's getting older. He's like getting to the old age of young player. It's just he hasn't been able to stay healthy the last few years. That's one thing. He's also been yo-yoed between AAA and the bigs. Because he's always been like a platoon or a 4th outfielder, and then they need to make moves. When he had a chance last year, he had 4 homers, a steal in 41 games, hit 333. Like the contact was looking really good. He got hurt. Most of those numbers came before he got hurt. Then he kind of played sporadically after that. Like it looked like he was starting to figure it out. And then we see in AAA, he had a season of 25, 27, 19, 20, 12, 32, a ton of speed. That's what I'm trying to get at that we haven't really seen at the big league level. Maybe it's disappeared. Who knows? Maybe he's got more power than speed. I just think there's a really good ball player there that we have not fully got to see yet. And I think actually him moving to Houston gets him a chance to see this. That's where it gets interesting to me.
Right.
And that's news alert. That's what my Houston part of PT Tomorrow on Wednesday is about, is this outfield conundrum in Houston that's going to play out. Because everyone likes Zach Cole.
Yeah.
I would like people to explain to me why they like a guy striking out nearly 37% of the time and they're like, "Oh, it's the big leagues first down." He struck out like 35% at
30.
AAA.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's not pretend this was just a big league first cup of coffee situation here. And yeah, it was great, but he basically overachieved all numbers he had throughout his minor leagues, or at least low Perfito, what I just read you, we saw it multiple times as he played ball. And so now it comes down to you have Zach Cole, you have Low Perfito, you have Cam Smith. One of them is platooning with Cam Smith. One of them might be the only guy in the outfield. Right. So
and I think Low Perfito can take it. Low Perfito is better than Cole. Like I was going to bring up Cole before you brought him there. Like the Astros seem to love Zach Cole, and I agree that the strikeout rate just scares the crap out of me. And it's not just the MLB strikeout rate; it's 35% K rate in the minors is horrific.
Yeah.
So I think Low Perfito playing time is, he obviously has to stay healthy, produce, whatever. I think is pretty safe because if one of those two struggles, my bet is that it's Cole. And I think if one of those two platoons with Cam Smith, which I think is what will happen, I think Zach Cole is more likely to platoon. So
yeah, and I think that's how the season starts out, I think. And then I think I wouldn't be shocked if we see Cole in the minors. And
he could.
If Cam Smith figures it out, because we got to remember Cam Smith's 22. Again, I'm just basically telling you guys my Astros part of the article I wrote. But I think Cam Smith's also a guy that we saw the plate discipline in year one. Shocker of a 22-year-old who was drafted in 2024 struggle a bit. Like maybe he could still find a different approach to the plate. So there's a lot going on there. But to the point of Low Perfito, I love him coming back to Houston. He kind of felt blocked in Toronto. I think Houston, he has got a chance to kind of find his feet and become an actually server, like in a 15-team league, like in the auction tomorrow night. I don't hate him as a reserve round dart throw if you need outfield depth. I really don't.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Yep.
All right. Enough of what probably people don't care about the fourth outfielder situation. But
like I said, you have conviction. We went a little deep on Low Perfito versus Cole there.
Yep. Whatever. But all right, we can go quick through these if you want. I just kind of put them together. The Padres have been, I tweeted out that the last 48 to 72 hours, the Padres have turned into the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, basically signing every bottom feeder and minor league deal they can find. So I only put a few on here. They brought in Nick Castellanos for free. They brought in Griffin Canning, who won't be able to pitch till like midseason because he's coming off an Achilles injury. Yeah. And they signed German Marquez because they need a pulse. They actually signed Walker Buehler to a minor league deal. They've signed your boy that was the first base, Ty France, to a deal. They've been grabbing all the guys that have a quasi pulse right now. So
they must have a bunch of WBC guys and just are trying to fill the spring training team.
No.
Okay.
No. The when Martin and I did the Padres preview, they had zero bench depth. Like if anybody got hurt, it was like curtains. Just good night, farewell. Their minor league, they traded them all for people. It's brutal. So these guys are actually upgrades to what they had before.
I mean, if I had to pick one out of these guys that I would roster, honestly, this is a draft and hold play, but it's Griffin Canning, just because it's not an arm injury, it's an Achilles. So maybe you get him for the second half, and it's super cheap. So, and I'm always a sucker for Griffin Canning. I've been burned many times, and for some reason, I'm going back to that well. German Marquez, I did not even know was still around.
Okay, wait, real quick. Are you looking at his page?
No.
Can you guess his age?
I think he's 30, right?
Yeah, it's 30. It surprised me when I
would have guessed. If I didn't know that, would have guessed 36, 37.
Exactly. That was my point. When I went to write him up for the news and notes, I was like, it said 30. I'm like, what?
When has this guy pitched last? I actually used to kind of like him.
Yeah. Go look at his page now. You're about to be in for a treat. Just with these questions.
Why would I look at his page? We're only talking about him on a podcast. He basically hasn't pitched since 2022.
Yeah, it's been very small samples recently.
Where's that legendary season? Yeah, 2018. I remember this. 200 innings, 377 ERA in Coors, 28% K rate for German Marquez. He was like 20 years old back then.
Yep.
Man.
The one thing I'll say though is if you look at those home road splits, like he's not electric on the road, but we're talking about a fifth starter that doesn't cost you a penny.
I guess he threw 120 innings last year.
And he had like a low 4 ERA on the road with like almost a 20% K to walk, if I remember correctly.
No, I'm not doing
you got to squint really hard, Ryan. But
I'm squinting. I'm squinting, and
I think I took my glasses off and I read that portion of it, but it's there. Yeah. But,
I got nothing else. I mean, Castellanos is not either. I mean, he's got to earn a starting role, I think.
Yeah. He just
fantasy wise, not relevant yet.
And the last one I tried not to go over this week. We have to. We started with Pablo Lopez. Hurston Waldrop has loose bodies in his elbow. He's getting a second opinion, and I'm pretty sure I found out what we have found out what the second opinion is without them announcing it yet, because the news today was if he needs surgery, he'll be out for 3 months. So they have a timeline, is what I got out of that. Like, they got enough from the opinion to have a timeline. And the Braves are one of the only teams that they're the ones that break their news. They tweet it out. It's not a beat reporter. So that's where I got that info from. As a beat reporter tweeted out the timeline. So we're waiting for the Braves to report on what's taking place there with Hurston Waldrop. Yeah, so he's likely out for half the season, if not more.
Do you think there's anything to this like rash of pitcher injuries on the Braves lately? Or is that, do you think it's just
no, I do. It's like reminds me of the Mets back in the day with they had who was it? It was the Dark Knight, and they had like 3 other
Syndergaard. He was always
Syndergaard.
hurt.
They had another dude that's supposed to be a stud. I can't remember who it is now, but they had like a trio of studs, and they all got hurt. So I think there is basically the pitch mixes, the arm angles that these guys are taught. Like I think Lance Brozdowski showed a video that when Waldrop was in the minor league, someone pointed out his delivery and like they slowed things down on the way his arm tweaks back. Like he's a year or 2 away from a big injury, just based on the way he's throwing.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah. It's probably what Glasnow said. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's like all these young guys now, they know they have to throw hard to get paid, and they don't care about getting surgeries anymore.
That just entered my mind. I don't have a firm opinion either way. Everyone's having fun at the Braves' expense on Twitter with all these injuries, but it's better than I don't know, man. Yeah. We hashed that out on the live stream. We won't go down that. We won't go down that Abbott hole again.
Abbott hole, nope. We don't cardy about it.
No, we don't.
Yeah. Anything else on Waldrop? Because he's pretty much off the books. Him and Pablo, sayonara.
Yeah, it sucks, but not the first, won't be the last.
Yep. As JD says, it was Syndergaard, Matt, and Harvey. And Matt's was supposed to be a stud also. And that just did not pan out. So it's a shame. It really is. All right, Ryan, let's get to it. Pocket number 1, 50 through 100. Why don't you let the wonderful folks out there know what we are looking at tonight?
Hold on, I got to resize this sucker. We're already looking at a bunch of. This is already a little bit tough to view. So apologies to the YouTube crowd, but this is you mentioned this at the top, but this is one of our favorite series to do. So this will be the first of 5 shows that we're going to do that kind of. So we're done with our position previews. We look at position by position, and we catch ourselves all the time saying, "Oh, I need to get an early third baseman. Oh, I need to get 2 early shortstops. Oh, I need to get 2." We're going to slice the player pool a different way now and look in these kind of chunks, these pockets of ADP across all positions, across all pitchers, across all hitters, and kind of get a feel for at certain stages of the draft where we think certain positions, categories, whatever, are either prevalent or not, and try and kind of build a draft plan for you guys based on that type of slice into the end of this. So it's not a position specific thing. It's truly at this point in the draft, these are the types of players that are going. And we'll do it that way. So then as part of that, we will then dive into some ADP debate, similar players, and then our targets and fades within this region. But yeah, we'll do this all the way up to I think 250 to 300, something like that. We're doing 5 of these. So 5 times 50, 250 picks. Tonight's 1 of 5.
Yep. We will get you covered there. So as Ryan said, we have it all broken down. He's got pitchers, he's got hitters. So we'll discuss the position strategies in these pockets, and we'll kind of give an overall thought here before we get some targets, fades, and whatnot here. But let's start with the pitchers. Obviously, it's a smaller chunk of these 50 in this range, and I guess we want to give a brief thought. Like we know the top 50, the basically 4 to 5 rounds, depending on your. We're doing 12 teams, so basically 4 rounds going off the board. You have your big 3 pitchers, and you're probably going down, if Fried's the first one, you probably have like what, 12 pitchers, 13 starters, 14 starters off the board. If Bednar's our first closer, we probably have what, 8, 9 closers off the board at this point in time, maybe 6, 7. I don't know. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry about
like
that. If you have toddlers, but you have the elite bats, a lot of outfielders, and all the big shortstops are gone. That's very clear. So I just want to get that out of the way before we discuss this next pocket here. And that might give you another thought process. But Ryan, when you look at the pitching side of things, I guess what stands out to you when you look at this?
So, I mean, I always look at the first thing I'm going to look at is the saves column here. And so, and yeah, just real quick, this ADP that we're showing on the boards, this is February 12-team Fab Leagues. So these are the online championships on the NFBC. So pretty fresh stuff. But first thing I'm always looking at is the closers, right? If we're building a draft strategy, we're building an auction plan, whatever, it's what do I want to do with closers? I think the biggest takeaway, and we've mentioned this either on streams or other shows, at least for me, the wild closer inflation that we saw in draft and hold season that I thought would kind of taper off once Fab League start has not tapered off at all. So you've got David Bednar going 59. Like you said, he's probably seventh closer off the board. Roldis Chapman at 60, Devin Williams at 63. So you've got a little cluster of those three guys right there. And then a little bit further down, you got Ryan Helsley at 83, Haters falling. Correctly so at 89. Raisel Iglesias and Carlos Estevez, both with ADPs of 92. So after this pocket, there are still some decent closing options available, but it may be a handful of them. So if you're interested in this group, and I personally of the whole crew, Raisel Iglesias is my favorite at 92, just given the price. But Bednar, Chapman, Williams, I certainly understand as well. But this is one where it makes sense to take a closer if you want to get a capital C closer with the role. And also a lot of these guys, I mean, we got the projections up here, like do have pretty legitimate skills and good projections.
Except you, Carlos Estevez.
Except for Rare State Carlos down there.
The worst ratios on the entire board go to Carlos Estevez here.
I think that 4.47 ERA cell is actually bleeding if you squint more.
I don't even know if I would eat that. I'd be like, that's on the brink of.
Yeah,
I probably would.
Still, but I would too.
Yeah, I probably would. But I'm just saying, it makes you think a little. Yeah, just for like reference, top of my head, it's like Palencia, Kenley Jansen, Dennis Santana, like those are the ones that are next. So to Ryan's point, if you want one of these like kind of locked in, even projections have them getting 30 plus saves, this is it. Like you got to jump in there. And it's not the end all be all. We've talked about that before, but if you want that kind of solid base, you need to shop in this range, and that's a very clear point to what Ryan's mentioning. To kind of piggyback off things is, ratios are still relatively good, but this is why you also see a lot of people take your SP2 here, or if you didn't go pitching early, this is where I always start shopping. Like this is, like I said, first 4 rounds of the 12 are done. We're talking, we're rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, part of 10 going through here. I usually want to leave by round 10, I want at least 2 starters more often than not. So this is a range where I'll probably pepper 2 of them if I wait on guys. If you don't wait on guys, it's a great SP2 range. If you wait, you can still survive. Like Freddie Peralta's in here, I got in round 9 last year, and now he's going in round 5. You got the Logan Webbs of the world, the Kirbys, the Ryans, the Luzardos. Like a lot of guys we like are in this range, obviously, but we're not alone because they're that good. So it's kind of the last, I think, 4 category pitchers, because obviously starters don't get saves type deal. It drops off it starts to get a clear drop off after this round. So I wouldn't wait too much longer on pitching. I get at least 1, preferably 2 in this range.
Yeah, that's mostly what I've been doing in drafts as well, because I start so hitter heavy in my first 4 picks. Is usually I'm grabbing 2 of these starting pitchers, because I just love the options. So we'll talk some of the specific guys. I mean, certainly Kyle Bradish heads all pitchers in this tier. Somewhat joking there, but yeah, there's just a lot of really good options here. Where if you decide to wait and start hitter heavy, take your pick of 2 of these starting pitchers, and I think you can do really well. The other thing to keep in mind, right? This is a pocket of ADP of 50 picks. So in and that's why we have the hitter board right up next to the pitcher board. In a 15-teamer, you're only getting 3 picks in this range. In a 12-teamer, you're getting 4. But just keep that in mind. Like if you take 2 starting pitchers here, you're probably only going to get one of this very long list of hitters on the right side. And so again, it's just that kind of give and take. And that's why we look at the player pool from this angle, is because this really, I think, does help you kind of figure out where you want to attack when what the trade-off is for grabbing 2 of these starting pitchers or grabbing one of these starting pitchers as your SP2 and getting your closer 1 here. Trade-off for that is you're only getting 1 to 2 hitters in this group. So just kind of know that and try and find that balance.
With that said, let's hop over to the hitter side real quick and see kind of how it correlates, because there is more hitters to your point. But if you're wanting pitching, you can only dabble in the hitter range, or you go pitching early and you pepper this hitting range. It's up to you. Obviously, if you pepper this range, there's more red in this range, so you're probably missing out on those 5 category guys you skipped on early on. But what stands out to you, I guess, is at first glance, looking at the hitting side of this board?
So I'll start, I guess, position-wise, because really category-wise, there's still, I think, tons of options. There's power, even at the bottom of this, like the last 2 guys. Seiya Suzuki is the last guy projected. He's projected for 26 home runs. Corey Seager is there, second to last, projected for 28. George Springer, Sal Perez, 25, 28 home run projections, respectively. And then there's a lot of speed, too. So I feel like the categories are spread out pretty nicely in this group to where you can kind of just take your favorite and go there. I think the bigger thing for me to look at with this 50 to 100 pocket is some of the bigger position cliffs that we've talked about in early drafts. So certainly catcher, you've got at ADP 52, 54, 55, you got 3 catchers going right there. Ben Rice, King William. What's King William's other nickname that Arico said?
Wild Bill. I'm wearing the shirt right now for Arico.
What?
Yeah, it's the shirt I wore at FPAS.
I don't remember
King
that.
William Roto-Wear shirt.
You're wearing William Contreras' shirt. That's awesome.
Yeah, I knew. I'm a man of the show here.
Wild Bill, William Contreras. He's King William. And then Shea Langoliers, Hunter Goodman. So you've got that kind of mini catcher cliff. So if you want to if you want to take part in this elite catcher tier, it may cost you a starting pitcher that you might like when you're trying to balance that out. Other cliffs are the shortstop tiers. So we have mentioned in the shortstop episode that there's an abundance of good talent for shortstop, 5 category guys at the top. That starts to dry out quickly, roughly around like pick 55. You've got Mookie Betts and CJ Abrams going right next to each other there. And then after that, it's a 20 pick drop to the next shortstop, Geraldo Perdomo. And then after that, another 20 pick drop pretty much to Jeremy Pena and Corey Seager. So just kind of keep that in mind. Catcher and shortstop, you've got some pretty big position cliffs there. So again, if you feel like you need to get on top of one of those cliffs, just know what it might cost you on the pitching side.
Yeah, that was one thing that stood out to me quite a bit. It was shortstop. It's definitely the end of that tier that we like to talk about. And Seager is not part of that tier. He's already off the cliff for most of his game.
So, he injured himself. He strained his hamstring approaching the cliff and then couldn't stop himself. So he fell down and broke his ankle.
Tried to hang on to the cliff, couldn't make it. But yeah, that, then you mentioned the catcher. This is where you start to get kind of towards the end of that catcher 1 tier that we always talk about. So definitely something that stood out to me. And like you were talking about statistics earlier. I guess first base gets a little interesting too, but
yeah, that's one of the ADP battles I'm going to talk about is first base. First base gets very interesting.
Well, and I won't ruin the battle, but just like in general, this is first base. This is kind of where we say you either take one here or you just wait. Is where it comes down to. But we'll get more into that. But to the statistics you were talking about earlier, yes, tons of power. Mostly all these guys have power except like Miguel Garcia and Perdomo, at least projections wise. Lots of power. It's the steals that stood out to me, honestly. Like, yeah, there's steals throughout the draft, but there's a lot of red in this section. Like, real quickly, we're only 50 picks out at the start of the draft, and we're already going into a world where not everybody's a 5 category guy anymore. Like, they still might be elite in some of those other categories, which you won't get farther down the 4 category, 3 category players, but you are getting some holes here that you kind of have to address. And I guess another reason why, like, I know, and you kind of do the same thing. I won't speak fully for you, but why we try to take at least 2 or sometimes 3, 5 category hitters out the like early on, maybe not out the game early on, because of this drying up process. Like, yeah, you can go get a Randy Rosarena who's 2020 guy, but he hits projected to hit 234. So that stings. Or you can go and get
O'Neill Cruz, same projection, like pretty
that's
much.
just ridiculous. But or you can get like Austin Riley if you believe in him, 260, 230, but 3 steals. Yeah. So there's a lot of that I noticed already early on in the draft where it feels like it should be later in the draft, if that makes sense.
That is true. And certainly, yeah, there's a good number of guys that just will not steal at all for you and just keep right. So like projected for 2 or fewer, Rafi Devers, Hunter Goodman, Austin Riley 3. We'll loop him in. Vinny P projected for 1, Drake Baldwin 1, Sal Perez, Corey Seager 2. So there definitely are like the true kind of traditional 4 category guys here where stolen base just kind of you get nothing. So that is a good point, man. I think that does make sense. But there's still what 2 guys projected for over 30 bags, and then at least another handful over 20. So it's not dire yet. And again, it shouldn't be dire because this is still top 100 picks. So definitely something to at least keep an eye on.
Yeah, just something to keep in mind. You can address that as it goes on. Like we said, is you're going to find more guys throughout there. There's going to be holes everywhere down the road, but you can fill those holes with other players. So
got a thing in the chat from Mr. Grouch. Love the name. I dressed up as the Grouch one year. Oscar the Grouch, yeah, for Halloween. There's only 1 second baseman in this entire group, which is bonkers, but it's Bryce Terang, ADP 52.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes to like when we previewed second base, like so many of them, there's a just chunk of them farther down the board where leads us to usually just wait anyways, if that makes sense. But yeah, Terang is a very, I don't know if polarizing is the right name, but a very volatile player in draft rooms right now. Which actually I want to check something while we're talking about him, because this is where I love looking at the differences between AAV and ADP. Because like Bryce Terang's, it's $19. It's pretty close to where his ADP is. So you got to pay that price for him, which is very interesting.
Yep.
All right. Any other general takeaways from this position? Like we said, it's a lot of really good pitching still. And then but hitting's fine. But the only thing I said mention is the holes, or if you're looking at certain positions.
Yeah, I don't have too much else to add. I think we covered it pretty good.
All right, let's get into some ADP debates. Then our structures for these shows, we'll each have 2 ADP debates. Then we'll each have some targets. We'll each have some fades. We'll have some listener questions. It'll be a similar flow through all these shows. So keep that in mind, especially if you have listener questions and you want us to hit certain parts. So let us know on that. But we'll start with ADP debates. And Ryan picked the first one on this one, and it's a dang beauty because it's one of his favorites and a guy he likes as well. But one of his favorites, he's not really a favorite of anymore.
Yeah, and like the debates isn't really a Bubba versus Bloom type debate. This is more just like similar type players, maybe similar position, but certainly similar like profiles, whatever, going right next to each other. So I talked about the shortstop Cliff, Mookie Betts, and CJ Abrams going right next to each other. Like I think that's pretty fascinating. Mookie Betts this time last year, I think, was a top 20 pick. I'm right. I have written up Mookie Betts for my speculator column as this will not shock you, Bubba. Recency bias rebound candidate coming off losing 20 pounds with an illness right before the season started and really losing his swing speed. Power did come back up at the end of the season, which is kind of the case side, the speculative case. It's a speculative case for that Mookie Betts rebound. So it's just interesting to see that compared to CJ Abrams. And I think the easy cop out is like, what are you more comfortable category wise? Betts, though he's only projected to hit 267 in these aggregated projections, I would take the over on that. I think you're getting a better batting average, probably the same amounts of home runs, but certainly better runs in RBI and a better lineup. CJ Abrams, maybe a little bit more batting average risk, but a lot more stolen bases. So it's just, for me, it was interesting to see those two guys going right next to each other. When I'm in draft rooms right now, I'm taking CJ Abrams over Betts, but kind of depends. If you started with like an Ellie De La Cruz, if you have an early Kyle Schwarber or something, you didn't grab a shortstop, I could see taking bets here.
Yeah, and to rehash something you said at the very beginning, it's a great point. A lot of these debates are because they go next to each other, so I want to agree with you on that. That makes a ton of sense because that's how we're trying to break down the pockets. To me, this is the perfect example of ceiling versus floor question when you're drafting. What are you looking for? Because at Abrams' age, like we might know who he is, but could there be another level to CJ Abrams? I wouldn't. I think it's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it could be. Like, what if all of a sudden he does hit 275 out of nowhere? Like, how cool would, like, I'm not saying he could, but you never know. Hits 25 home runs, like that's possible. Like it's very possible. And then what if he steals 35 bags? Like that makes it a big difference. I think it's the average, like you mentioned, and the run production. Just because Mookie's, as long as he plays 140 games, he's scoring 110 to 120 runs. Like that's just the reality of the situation with the Dodgers. Abrams at the top of that Nats lineup, the top half of the Nats lineup is still at least formidable, where he can score a bunch of runs. It just gets ugly after that. So it's a ceiling versus floor play. Like, do you want steals? I think the other thing is we talked about it time and time again on that shortstop preview. You want to get speed from shortstop. Like that's a big takeaway
Right.
for me.
Yeah.
Now, is it a must? No, it just means you have to like go get J Ram at third or something. Like that just the reality of that. Like, but that's the other part that I think sticks out in my head where I'm like, yeah, Mookie, that's not going to work. I need steals here.
I would actually argue, Bubba, that CJ Abrams has a higher floor than Mookie Betts. I think there's a floor of Mookie Betts where like this aging curve does not treat him very well, and we give him a pass for the illness, but this could unravel. Whereas CJ Abrams, 3 straight years, 600 plus plate appearances, home runs have been 18, 20, and 19. Has hit 245, 246, 257, and has stolen 30 plus bases in each of the last 3 seasons. Like I think that's actually a damn good floor for someone who's still just 25. I think you might have a higher ceiling too. So yes, as Paul mentions in the chat, yes, CJ Abrams is younger than Mookie Betts. Maybe I'm shocking the world by picking someone younger, but I just think the Abrams floor actually could be higher than Betts's.
No, I like the call. I'm picking Abrams every time. I was trying to throw whatever angle out there I could give.
You're trying to
I was
be
trying to
nice
get
to
some kind of
Mookie.
angle to it, but if you want to completely poo-poo Mookie Betts, well, yeah, I'll support the cause. I've been anti. I was trying to play devil's advocate for give me the listeners out there that like Mookie Betts still, because I understand why people do. Like the runs
in
not a lot-
RBI will be so much better. So like
Yes.
Abrams has 60 RBI like in each of the last 3 seasons. Like that's
a dreadful gap
great.
between those two. Like it's a massive gap. And runs, it's one of those categories. It always seems underappreciated. Like Mookie Betts scoring 120 plus runs a season is quite humongous in the grand scheme of things. Like that is a large, like a big help, as they say. So that's where I was trying to go with that. Maybe I just jumbled it up quite a bit because I have CJ Abrams over Betts everywhere I can. That's pretty simple for me. But that's why I think I kept trying to say, why couldn't he be better? He's still so young. But so I'll take Abrams. But I get the Betts argument for those that want to draft the accordingly, just like lock in runs or whatever. But he's just not stealing bags anymore. It's not happening. So
appreciate the runs.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stop right there. All right, my debate, and as ADP keeps changing, they've gotten right next to each other now. They were a little farther apart earlier in draft season. Now King William, or Wild Bill, as some Canucks like to call him, King William Contreras, ADP of 54, Shea Bangaliers, ADP of 55, right next to each other. If you're good with math, right there, folks. And this one is, I don't know. This is a tougher one for me, just based on what Langoliers did last year. It's still King William for me. I'm not going to say it's not, but it deserves to be this close. I'm actually more mad at one of my fades is so much, going 3 picks in front of them. We'll talk about that a little later. But King William coming off the broken finger, so he pretty much played the whole season with a fractured finger. Had the surgery. He's good. Still 17 homers, 6 steals, 260, and played better as the season went along. Surprisingly, play discipline was better than it's been in the years past. So I'm good with him getting back to hopefully mid 20 homers. We're getting 180 to 200 runs and RBIs somewhere in there. Great batting average, which he does. Most catchers don't supply. So William all aboard, floor with a ceiling. Langoliers though, Ryan, The 277 average, don't believe it, but why can't he hit 250? Like the way he hits the ball so hard in that ballpark, he made adjustments like the strikeout rate dropping to below 20%. What if it goes back to 23, not 27? It's still very good. Power's legit. We know that with Langoliers, even steals a few bases. It comes down to, do you believe the changes in the plate discipline that also helped correlate to better batting average, is that sustainable? If you believe that, I will listen to arguments that he's a better pick than William Contreras, and it'll hurt me, but I can see it. If he doesn't hit for at least 250 or better, it's clearly William for me.
And we do need to keep in mind Shea Langoliers the previous 2 seasons hit 205 and 224.
Yep. But
So,
he also
like,
struck out 27 and 29% of the time.
And right, so like and in a much worse ballpark. So like there is context to that. So I get it. I'm also going Wild Bill Contreras. Sounds whatever. I'll stop. I don't want to keep destroying the shirt you have on your back here. But I'll go William Contreras just because I just think William Contreras can go back. Why can't he go right back to being the number 1 catcher, presumably healthy, for as relatively healthy catchers can be? I just think so much of what we saw last year was an injury past for William Contreras. I trust that track record over the track record of Shea Langoliers, which could again be a batting average sink. Probably not, because he did improve the K rate last year. He is prime age 28 and he's in a better park and better lineup. But I just think the safety with William Contreras is a little bit more than Langoliers. I don't think I've drafted Langoliers yet.
I don't think I have either, weirdly enough. But it just reminds me, I know it's different ballpark, probably different coaches now at this point. It just feels so much like that Matt Olson year where all of a sudden he stopped striking out and went through the roof. And then we've seen it fluctuate every year since then, basically. Right.
Just because someone improves their strikeout rate one year doesn't mean it's going to stick.
100%. That's the thing. Like, that's what I'm saying. If he hits 250 plus, like, yeah, he's going to be a heck of a fantasy asset. But there's that world where he drops back down to like 220, and that's not great at all. So just want to mention that them going right next to each other is very, very interesting to me. It's another kind of solid floor ceiling type conversation. All right, what is your next ADP debate?
All right, this one, pitching side. So this one just caught my eye. You're probably deciding on an SP2, maybe if you're Bubba, punting pitching. This is SP1 territory because one of these guys is his guy. But just looking at projections here, pretty much the exact same projections for Jesus Luzardo and Dylan Cease, going at ADPs of 74 and 80 respectively. You want to talk floor? I mean, Cease has a low floor. The strikeouts are great. The ratios are rough. I'm going Jesus Luzardo pretty much every day over Dylan Cease. I don't think that surprises you. I also think, and this is why I group these guys together, Joe Ryan's going right above these guys as well. The old why not both GIF, if you're in an auction or if you're at a wheel or something in a draft, this could be your SP1 and 2, and I think you are fine with these two guys.
Yeah, as much as I love Dylan Cease, and I think that we see a better Dylan Cease this year in Toronto, the new staff, better defense has been. Tid broke down on the stream last night with Enrico. A lot of factors to benefit him. We also know that things can go haywire with him and still be very good, but the whip will go through the roof, yada, yada. I'll take Luzardo as well. Now, it's weird because I actually trust Cease's health over Luzardo's, so maybe I shouldn't. But overall skills, give me Luzardo all day long. I think he is that good. We talked about him before, that if there's any pitcher in this like mid-tier that we could see being in that first 2 rounds or so next year, he's got the skills to do that. He's one of them that has the skills to do that, I should say. So, give me Luzardo over Cease. And I love the conversation you mentioned with Ryan, Luzardo, Cease. I have a lot of combinations of those 3 guys. A lot of combinations just because of the way I draft.
Kirby, Bradish.
No Bradish, no Kirby for me. It's literally those 3 guys. Webb's in the conversation in Peralta. Like those 5 are like my main dudes in this pocket. And I go to town with those 5. A lot of my teams are built with some combination of those 5 right now. But Luzardo or Cease, love them. Agree with everything you said. And I'll take Luzardo over Cease, but I have zero problem taking both if I have to.
Yep.
Last one for me, it's more of I just want to kind of get a conversation going because I am so torn on Jackson Merrill and Byron Buxton. and it maybe
Oh,
shouldn't be this simple, but I brought him up for two reasons. Obviously, both outfielders. ADP 71 for Merrill, 72 for Buxton. Buxton's 32, Jackson Merrill's 22. Jackson Merrill has had the injury history last season. That was wild. Buxton, we know what he's done, but he was healthy last year, playing 126 games, 35, 24, 264. So we know if he can play. It's like the Jazz Chisholm. Can you give me at least 120 or 30 games? We're going to be good. Buxton proved that. Now, can he do it twice in a row? Haven't seen that before. Jackson Merrill, 16 homers, 264 in 115 games. But that's after a rookie season of 24, 16, and 292, where he looked really good. So I'm just extremely torn on, Jackson Merrill, do we say he's hurt, he's young, we're good, or do we get concerned because he was hurt and there were goofy injuries and there's soft tissue, so on and so forth. And then you got Buxton, who we know how good he can be, finally played 126 games. It was great. He's healthy right now. That's all we can ask for. And then you look at the projections, and it's like Buxton has projected for more homers, more steals, and just a little bit lower batting average. Like in paper, Buxton's the better player than Jackson Merrill right now, but do you trust the health history versus the youth? That's what my question is. That's why it's very tricky for me.
Yeah, no, it's a fascinating one. So my answer has always been
Neither.
Jaron Duran, Cody Bellinger, Randy Rosarena, George Springer in drafts. But this is an interesting, I'm glad you brought this up because this is not really a thought exercise I've had to go through. I think just in general that these guys are so similar because injury prone, coming off, at least for Merrill, coming off a pretty much terrible year that Buxton has had many times in the past. I think the question you got to ask yourself is, if this hits, there's risk, but if this hits, who has the higher ceiling? And I think Byron Buxton has the higher ceiling than Jackson Merrill. So I would, again, I'm probably not taking either one, but that's the kind of the calculus, the process I'm going through in my head is like, if they both stay healthy, I think Buxton is has the higher ceiling. And so that's the one I would take there.
I guess my other just argument to kind of keep opening discussion on this, because the more I talk about these players through previews, it kind of just got my brain thinking of maybe, I guess more so because of auctions, everyone's on the table. And so do these players fit a mold if a price comes cheap? And with Merrill, last year, we're paying a second round price for Jackson Merrill, which is, in a 12 team where you're talking 13 through 24. Now we're at 71. We're talking a 50 pick drop potentially in Jackson Merrill. That's 4.5 rounds of Jackson Merrill later. Has his skills declined that much? Is my question. That's where my conversation comes into play.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they haven't. He's only 20. You're talking Merrill, right?
Yeah, but that's my point.
So
should we buy the dip? Is my point. This is why it's just tough. Maybe I'm just overthinking this whole process, but and I agree, it's Bellinger, it's Duran, but why? What if Merrill regains that form from his rookie year because he stays injury free? Now we're talking about a third round guy we got in around pick 71.
Yep. Certainly, so both have a ceiling, that's there, but yeah, man, George Springer just did this last year, did the ceiling that we're talking about. So
I know. I just wanted to bring it up. I thought it was interesting just watching this combo here.
No, we haven't. I don't think we've even talked about either of these two very much. So that's better than rehashing the same old boring George Springer argument that I keep bringing him up. So
that's what I'm here for, is just to bring up stupid things that maybe eventually one of them sticks.
And Patrick Corbin, of course.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. That one. Yeah. Never mind. I'll leave it there. You brought it up that time. That was on you. All right. Let's talk about some of our targets in this range, Ryan. We got a couple each here. To the surprise of nobody, Ryan, what's your first target in this range? As he spit it up and drink all of
mid LaCroix here. Can't do that, man. First it was the taco, and now it's the LaCroix.
Hey, real quick, we got why do you think we got an ADP debate just got thrown in the chat here from Woody. I almost put this one on here, but I wanted something different. What's your opinion of a Rosarena versus Cruz, especially because you mentioned if you're just a projections drafter, same projection essentially between the two. So that's almost like if you take bias out of it, it's very tricky.
Yeah, no, very good question by Woody. I'm going to go to the surprise of no one, as you just said. I'm going to go Randy Rosarena. I just think there's a floor, and the lefty righty split for Cruz for a weekly league makes him, for me, very frustrating to roster. So I'm going to go Randy Arozarena, but it's a great ADP debate, Woody, because they are right next to each other, have the same projection. However, I would argue Randy Arozarena or O'Neal Cruz has a much wider range of outcomes, a higher ceiling, yet a lower floor.
Yeah, because I'm going to throw this out here. So back-to-back years of 2020 for Cruz. Arozarena has done it for 5 years. So that's usually another reason why you and I would take Arozarena. But one thing I want to mention, Cruz is a 12 like an OC play. Like I don't have him. I took Arozarena in the OC I drafted. But if you're looking at projections, yes, we look at the same projection. But Arozarena is projected for like 150-ish games. O'Neal Cruz is projected for like 125 games. So this same projection given Arozarena 25 more games of production.
Well, because O'Neal Cruz probably isn't playing.
I get it. But what if it's this is something where you and I always seem to be like, this is why it's a good talking point on our shows. I like to play the what if game. You stay in the projection game, which is fun. That's why it's good. So my thing is, what if all of a sudden O'Neal Cruz finally pulls his head out of his rear end and cares about playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates and gets to play a half to 2/3 of at-bats versus lefties? What if he figures it out? And now instead of 125 games, it's 140 games.
Then he would be really good, Bubba.
That's my
those
point.
Multiple ifs
what if
were
game.
whatted.
Yes, I know. I'm with you. I pick Arozarena every time because I don't want to deal with it. But I want to mention that to people before they yell at the screen going, yeah, but the projection is 25 games difference, because that does make a difference if you are a projection drafter. All right. Your target, again, to the surprise of nobody.
All right. Target is, it's a combo target. It's just I'm finding myself often in drafts. It's Josh Naylor and Freddie Freeman going right next to each other. I just think both are really good values in terms of where their projections are versus where they're going. And they're also kind of, we could have a Vinny P discussion, but there's a first base cliff after this. And so I think if you want to get a good first baseman, you've got Naylor and Freeman available to you. And the nice thing about both of those guys is they offer different things, right? So you could they both offer batting average, Naylor with more steals, but Freddie with more runs and RBI. So you got different avenues there and two options at first base that I really like. And I'm taking a lot of those guys, again, to the surprise of no one in a lot of my drafts.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think I actually took a Freddie recently, which to the shock of yeah, that shocked me.
Do you think Vinny P's in that group? I think Vinny P's a step below those two.
I think Vinny P's definitely in that group. Like Naylor,
with no steals at all.
I say that's the thing is if Naylor steals bags, like he's in a complete tier of his own. If he steals like he did last year, but yeah, I get your point with no steals. But then Vinny hit the 32 home runs last year in 160 games. I know it's his first time doing that, but I think we even said that in the preview last year. If he could just play a full season, he's got the skill sets. He had the 113 RBIs. Like, I think his run production with the power combo is, but then that's tough. I'm starting to see what you're saying here. I think his power is better than both of them, but the total package, you probably have to go with the other. Like, he's really close, but yeah, I think he needs to improve his batting average
for me.
He needs to improve the batting average. I was gonna say I didn't care about the steals, but then looking at the batting average, that is a tick below. Yes, I'm with you there. All right, Miguel Garcia is my first target. Talked about him plenty on this show. It's only if you want to get an early third baseman because he's one of the few out after like the Machado, J Rams of the worlds. I just love the fact that he's one of the few third basemen outside of J Ram that you can get steals with. Now you got you got Caleb Durbin and Rengifo technically, but 16 homers, 23 steals last year. He's seen at least 23 steals 3 straight years at 286. He's going to hit for average. He's going to score a ton of runs towards the top of that order. He should at least. And I think the power is legit. We kind of talked about it last year. Like he showcased the ability to hit for power. He actually improved his launch angle, his barrel rate, his hard hit rate all went up last season. And I think that's a sign of things to come. They move the walls in. Like I think he hits at least 10. I think there's a world where he runs into 15 to 20. It's the steals, which I love. So yeah, Miguel Garcia is a third base target. I am a big fan of if you don't want to, because most third base targets, the later you go, you're hoping for quasi good batting average with power and like 80 RBIs. So give me Miguel Garcia.
I love Maikel Garcia. I have drafted him a grand total of 0 times. So do I really love Maikel Garcia? It's one of those challenges of
I love
I like
Sydney
the guy.
Sweeney. I'm never going to take her on a date, so it's okay.
You might. There's a
Yeah.
chance.
No, yeah, there's also never mind. I have 3 shares of Maikel Garcia in my first 11 drafts. So
For me, I will go to the pitching side. Target. This will be surprising nobody, so I won't rehash it too much. But Logan Webb is ADP 63, just 220 strikeouts last year. I think ERA is pretty much locked in. Yeah, maybe some whip issues, but the volume, the consistency, but even bigger too. It's not just Logan Webb. It's what you just talked about, Bubba. It's Freddie Peralta going right next to him. It's Kirby, who I like more than you. It's Bradish, who I like more than you. It's Joe Ryan. It's Jesus Luzardo. It's Dylan Cease. We kind of already talked about this, but just very strong core of late SP1s, early SP2s that you can get here.
yeah, no, love Webb. He's a guy I still consider an SP1, where some people are starting to argue the whip is making him an SP2, which I get, but man, that whip with him, it's just like the argument for strikeouts with him and everything else. It's so up and down volatile. Like he's still an SP1 for me.
Okay.
My other target, I won't go too deep here. Like we basically already talked about, is Randy Rosarena. I just love, like, literally without it, if he doesn't get hurt, I see a 6-20-20 season in the cards, and being able to pencil that in is pretty sweet. I know the average sucks, and you just pray he hits like 230 to 240, which is horrible to say, but you can build around that, I hope, with your earlier picks, and they're the 2020, and it kind of makes up for some of the faults there.
Yeah, 238 last year. That's doable. That's doable, and I don't think that was a fluky 238. Like I think that's pretty reasonable. The batting average is not going to be the same as when he was in Tampa, right? The Seattle's going to do that to you, but yeah, obviously I'm on board with Randy Rosarena.
All right, now the fun really begins. Let's talk fades. We got 2 fades each, so we'll kick it off with you. Who as a fade would have been for both of us?
Fun will begin next time, yeah, because we're both. This is Spencer Strider's my fade, and even look at the projections here. Not quite a Carlos Esteves red, but Spencer Strider's 4.06 ERA projection, 123 WHIP, not great. And I don't even know if these projections, right? This is just an aggregate of all the Fangraphs publicly available ones. Are these projections treating Strider as a different person post thoracic outlet? Or not thoracic outlet, sorry, brace, internal brace, my bad. I don't know if they are. Like there could still be some of the old Spencer Strider peppered into this projection, and I need to see the old Spencer Strider, the pre-internal brace Spencer Strider, before I can get in here. And at a pick 96, it's just too expensive for me to find out. If he was going 150, maybe, but you're banking on a lot of that old Strider to come back. Now, if the true old Strider comes back, this is a smash. Like I understand that. I just think that's a pretty low percentage outcome for Strider.
Yeah, it's the old saying we use a lot. Yeah, I'm okay being wrong on this one.
Exactly.
You got to prove this one to me. It was so bad last year. Like there's a lot that has to get back to normal before I'm in on that one. Now watch, he'll shove in this first few springs at ADP will rise, and I'll still won't be on him, but I'm gonna watch it just continue to go in my face. All right, for me, it's one of your kind of guys you roster a lot, it sounds like, or at least you're interested in. That's Kyle Bradish for me. But we've had this talk on this show. It's been wild in the Discord, and it was great on the stream with Enrico last night. No Kyle Bradish for me for a couple reasons. Like, do I agree the skills are really good? Great. Yes, the skills are great. He showcased great skills last year in 32 innings pitched. That's great. Coming back from his Tommy John or whatever he had with his elbow. Finished the year. Things looked great in all those regards. Not going to knock any of that. Between the minors and the bigs, he actually ended up throwing almost 55 innings. So kudos to Kyle Bradish. He's already come out and saying they're going to limit his innings. He's thinking maybe 140 if things go well for him, which would be a big plus. That's going to knock it down a bit. That's what he said. That's what he said.
He said 140?
Yeah, and if you look at projections, most projections have him anywhere between 130 and 145 is what we're looking at here. So I believe a good friend of ours, Ben Tidd, used a projections aggregator and aggregated amount to about 144 innings pitched. And due to that aggregator, the pitcher going right, that was the 39th pitcher, according to the aggregator, 39th starting pitcher. So wrap that run around your brain for a minute. And the pitcher going right ahead of him, according to the projection aggregator, is Mackenzie Gore.
Yeah,
So, which given the whip the aggregator has, and it's not the aggregator's fault, I guess it's the projection's fault.
Do you want to beer bet me Bradish versus Mackenzie Gore?
No.
Is that where the path we're going down late this evening, my friend?
Mackenzie Gore more innings pitched, sure.
Well, yeah, but they're not good innings.
Yeah, but I think we agreed the strikeouts would be higher. But my point being is I think Bradish is very good. Bradish to earn this price tag, I don't think throws enough innings to make it happen. I think he's going to be too limited throughout the season. And it makes sense for the Orioles. They need him in the postseason. Like that rotation needs him as long as possible. So I just think that with these other pitchers going around him, which we have a better feel for, I've just been passing on Bradish. He's been a fade for me.
How many times in the past, though, have you said you want to take the skilled pitchers and not worry about the workload as much because we can't project the workload for these guys? And 100, I think if he gets to 150, that's it, even. I still think he can get to 160. We'll get to that debate in just a second, but like that's not far off of where a lot of these guys throw.
I agree with what you're saying, but this is also a realm where I like other pitchers around this guy.
That's true.
It's not a later target where I'm like, maybe I should take the skills over the convenience.
So to actually put some math here, and again, I do all my own starting pitcher projections myself. I go through. I like to project it, kind of look at all these guys in a vacuum. I've got Kyle Bradish down for a 3.30 ERA, 115 WHIP, and a 27% strikeout rate. Before the workload news came out, I had Bradish for 165 innings and 12 wins. He was the number 14 starting pitcher for me. If I drop him to 150 innings, which I think is still fair, and I'll drop him a win, right? So like 2 fewer starts, whatever. Bradish then drops to my number 23 starting pitcher. And right now, Bradish is being drafted as the number 18 starting pitcher by ADP. So he is someone who I used to have as a buy. And that's also how sensitive these things are to 2 starts. We have no idea, how many starts any of these guys are going to throw, but that's how sensitive the thing is. Bradish turns from a good buy to someone who's pretty much going at cost because the ADP may drop a little bit for Bradish as well. So he's now like an on par type guy for me.
It's just he's one of those players. Like there's always a handful in every draft. You're either all in or you're all out.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm all out on Bradish. You and others are all in. So it's going to be one of those all season. Like again, I at least will admit I think the skills are great. Others people are just like flat out.
Well, the skills are great. I don't.
No, they are.
I don't see how you can argue against that. The skills are like
okay. It's coming back from injuries. It's the innings. Like literally, the dude hasn't thrown over 100 innings since 2023.
It's only 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And then he threw. That's selective bias there.
No.
How many did he throw in 2023? 170 innings.
There was 117 before that. He's only thrown over 100. Like that's
it was 145 before that with minors included.
That's math.
Yeah, math. I'm still skeptical on maybe this is my Bradish colored glasses.
Yes, it's your bias. Not my
I don't
bias.
know about this workload limit, man. I think some of that got a little misconstrued.
Yeah, well, it came from his mouth. All right, what's your next fade?
Do you want to do a Kyle Bradish, Dylan Cease beer bet?
You've been thinking this one up for a while, haven't you?
Because I agree. I like your point about like I'm not gonna Joe Ryan. I'm not going to Jesus Luzardo, but I will do a Dylan Cease. I will propose a Dylan Cease, Kyle Bradish, and you may come back with something else.
They're going 11. They're going 11 picks apart, right?
But that's before the workload.
Oh, now you're agreeing with the workload?
No, I'm just saying his ADP is going to drop a little bit because the workload, because other people will believe it.
Well, let's just check this fancy ADP tracker because this news has been out for a couple drafts, and let's see if people
today, didn't it?
Okay, like 3 days. I wrote about it on Sunday night.
All right, what do we got?
ADP's been 61, 64, 73. So it's not
gone up.
Yeah.
Hey, that's all I can offer you. Cease versus Bradish.
Webb versus Bradish.
Oh, I like Webb.
Yeah. He said, "What am I going to come back with? I'm coming back. I ain't taking Kirby. We're not going Joe Ryan. Luzardo.
No, I like Luzardo.
So it has to be a pitcher you don't like.
Yeah, that's the sanctity of a beer bet.
I'll have to think
You've
about it
already
more.
got bailed out by one with Jackson Holiday, so
Yeah, I'm
trying to
not
get
ready
one
for this
back
one
on.
yet.
All right, not ready. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, speaks the truth. So we know. Good stuff. Bubba likes Bradish more than Dylan Cease.
That is not true. That
He
is
wouldn't.
not
He
true
wouldn't
at all.
take the beer bet. So
That's not true. Maybe we'll work on this live during your auction to really throw you for a curveball on Friday
oh
night.
Jesus. Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
you're poking the bear already. We haven't even got on the stream yet. Yeah,
That's when I'm cutting the cord on these wired headphones.
What do you got for your next fade?
I'm all worked up.
And by the way, they said his Bradish's skills were not elite in 23, just so you know. Oh, okay, sorry.
Roman Anthony. It's my fade. I hope I'm wrong because I hope Roman Anthony's really good in 2026. I think the talent's remarkable. It sounds like he may lead off in Boston. I saw a report on that, which would be nice. But the market is banking on this all coming together for Roman Anthony in 2026. And there's certainly a chance that could happen. And if it does at this ADP, it's a pretty solid buy. I just think there's like an 80% chance it does not all come together for Roman Anthony. And then it doesn't. The projections are awful for Roman Anthony based on what he did last season. So certainly I would expect Roman Anthony to get better, but the market's expecting him to get a lot better at his current ADP of whatever it is. I can't even see the thing. 56 ADP. That's very expensive to me.
Yeah, I have nothing. I've stayed far away from Roman Anthony at that price. Like, I'd rather take Jackson Merrill at 71 than Roman Anthony at 56. We'll see if he figures it out, but he seems like a great OBP guy. Like you said, even his projections, that does not scream ADP 56. People are doing the what if with him. They're speculating on him, and I'm not there on Roman Anthony. I'm going to go Ben Rice to really anger some people, but I don't feel he should be the second catcher off the board. I'll put that one out there. I'll put that one out there real quick. Jason DuPont, this is for you, brother. Ben Rice, yeah, good season last year. Not going to knock it. Dude hit 26 jacks, hit 255. That's really good. Slightly outperformed a injured William Contreras. Didn't outperform Shea Bangaliers, and he's going ahead of both of them. Yes, they have Rice. People are pushing him up because he's going to be the everyday first baseman, but is he? Right. He's going to be the primary first baseman, but Goldie's in town. They say Rice is going to face lefties. Goldie's still going to play, folks. Maybe not all the time, but he's going to play enough to not give Rice every game like you think he's going to. Now, Rice might catch. He's supposed to back up Wells. They're not bringing a backup catcher. Rice is the catcher, too. That's a plus. But I think there's still just a world where we might have seen, like, the StatCast numbers from Rice are great. Not going to knock that. I just think if he's not playing every day, I don't think we see anything better than last year. And last year was fine, but I think William can do that or be better. I think Shea Langoliers can be better. I think Hunter Goodman can be better. I think Goose could be better in a full season.
Ooh, we're gonna keep going. Drake Baldwin, Salvi.
Baldwin's tough. Salvi, maybe.
There are projection systems that have Salvi like way up there. I love Salvi. Actually, I think I didn't mention him as a target.
Look at Rice, awesome. 240. Like, okay, the 5 steals is nice for Rice in the catcher's position, but 246 and 26. Yeah, the 26 is great. The average, whatever. Like Langoliers 257, 28, and 6. Langoliers has a better projection than Ben Rice. I know they're going close, but my point is Rice is getting such a push because of the first base narrative, which is fine, whatever. But it just ain't it for me. So I've been fading Ben Rice. I think he's good. I'm not going to go there.
I have not taken Ben Rice yet either. I'm just always taking William Contreras instead. Like, it's kind of the thing to your point. It's really more the price than the person.
Wow, Ryan's talking crap in the chat now. This is great. All right,
tried to sneak that in here.
Yeah, he can't sneak anything past me. Question in the chat though. Paul says, "How much earlier than ADP of 68 do you draft McKell?" That's always what I struggle with. That is the struggle. Because of the pitchers we just talked about,
right?
And maybe taking a catcher earlier. That's probably why Ryan has no Maikel Garcia.
And like I have a ton of CJ Abrams who's going 9 picks before Maikel Garcia. I just talked about the Josh Naylor, Freddie Freeman thing. Those are going right next to Maikel Garcia. So that's probably why I don't have much Maikel Garcia. It's just I like the other, and I haven't even brought up all the pitchers we've been talking about too. So
Maikel Garcia,
nice spot.
The 3 shares I have of him is probably because he fell. Like, I haven't really reached for Miguel Garcia to the question there.
Yeah.
All righty. Some listener questions from the Discord. Canton Dog says, Bryce Harper, do you believe that Dave Dombrowski's comments about Harper back in October will motivate Harper to have a strong 2026? I don't think that matters.
I don't think if anything, I hope it motivates Bryce Harper to stay healthy, stay on the
Bingo.
field, but I don't think it
Yeah,
matters.
yeah, he said he wasn't happy about it, but if that's what you need to motivate yourself, yeah, you're looking at the wrong thing right about now.
Yep.
Alex M says ADP suggests a pretty clear closer tier gap between Bednar, Chapman, Williams ending at 63, then Helsley, Iglesias, Estevez ending at 83. Which aisle are you more interested in shopping for RP1? The Bednar, Chapman, Williams, or the Helsley, Iglesias, Estevez? I know your answer.
I'm going the latter, because I just like so many other options going 60 that I'm usually not taking a closer there. So
yeah,
I'm taking Raisel Iglesias at 90.
I see where Ryan's at. I don't disagree with where Ryan's at. In a perfect world, that's where I would be. But I have found myself in that Chapman Williams area a lot more often than the Iglesias area.
Yeah.
So I have bought earlier. My biggest reason is Chapman. Yeah, last year was probably the best year he's going to have in the rest of his career. But at worst, he still could strike out 1 million people. Like, the ratios might be suspect, but K is like that K difference from a closer goes a long ways to help you with other parts of your later starting pitchers. And Devin Williams looked pretty dang good to his elite skill set, at least towards the end of last season. That I'll buy back. And when he was a closer in that skill set was pretty darn good as well. So, and then they're talking about saves and holds from like 2 weeks ago. So we'll leave it at that.
I saw that. I was hoping that would throw you off.
Saves
and half holds.
I'm on my game. I'm Celsius up right now. I got a toddler that almost made her debut tonight. Like, we are rolling right now. I have stuff going everywhere right now. We are having it. Yeah. Ryan tries to slide a beer bet by me. Not going to happen up in here.
I figured you were on tilt somewhat tonight, especially early in the show. Thought I could get you, but you stayed strong.
But you know what? The more I think about it, because I am a man of principle, I will take Dylan Cease versus Kyle Bradish, because Dylan Cease will throw 180 innings, strike out 200 plus again. Kyle Bradish will limp to 140, and we're going to walk away happy. So yeah, you're updating the spreadsheet right now. Dylan Cease for Kyle Bradish. I'll do it because, I support the people that trust me, and I back up my words here in Dylan Cease.
I like it. It's a nice one. Like, it's because it's the kind of the little bit more workload risk versus stable yet.
If Cease has one of his low whip seasons, you're hosed.
Oh yeah.
You're blown out of the water. But
if Kyle Bradish throws 170 innings, you're host.
Well, that's not happening. I put money on that flat out right now. Like, you might get lucky to get the 155, 160. You are not getting the 170. That is not happening. They will. The Orioles need him in the postseason. That is not happening.
Okay. Yeah. I'm still not totally erasing our Jackson Holiday. If he comes back in 2 weeks into the season, I'm putting it up to a vote.
What was the bet again?
Just said he's top 8 at second base.
Yes, that's right. That's all right. Any final thoughts on the ADP Pockets Part 1?
As we were wrapping that up, again, my mind is in auctions right now, so it's a little weird to be going back to ADP. Yeah. But like, all these guys are going for $20 AAV. And I think if you're budgeting, and I'm sure people listening to the show are in my league Friday night, I will probably look to not spend as much or even at all on a $30 plus $35 guy and hopefully kind of nail this $20 range. Like, all of these targets that we're talking about are all going at 20. In auction, you can get a lot of these guys. In a straight draft, you can only pick 1 to 2 of them.
Yep.
So yep. Throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's kind of like we kind of highlighted it in our auction prime. We're just looking at the catchers thing at the very end of the show. If we had time, we were going to go starting pitchers and some others. Like the question we had, the little tiers of relief pitchers just in the ADP here. You can do that with prices of pitchers and other positions and kind of get your little pockets of prices.
Yep.
As Ryan's referring to. And they usually correlate with ADP. That's kind of the premise of the pricing of how that works.
Yep.
But yeah, something you could do to basically kind of highlight what Ryan's talking to and compare the two for you there. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. So you good? Anything else?
Good to go, man. Got my beer bet. I'm happy.
Yeah, you're about to go 0-2, or I'm going to go 0-2. Orioles on both of them somehow. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. We'll be back to you guys Thursday night with part 2, 101 through 150 of the ADP pockets. Things are going to start getting interesting, folks. This next one should still be kind of straightforward, but you're about to see some statistics dwindle. You're going to start to see some actual positions you need to start attacking heavier, stuff like that. That's what we start seeing as the pockets go along. And then Wednesday evening, before that show, I will be streaming my Listener League 4 for Bubba and the Bloom. It'll be at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time. Ben Tidd will be joining me to start out. Maybe some others will join me as the draft goes along. So come check that out on the Bubba and the Bloom YouTube page. And other than that, you guys enjoy the other Listener League shows. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back with you guys Thursday for our next show. Follow Ryan on Twitter at RyanBHQ, the podcast at Bubba Bloom Pod, on Patreon at patreon.com/Bubba Bloom. I'm at BD Entrick. This was Bubba the Bloom, episode 321. Catch y'all next time.